The screen is dark. Then numbers flash 1, 2 billion, 3 W, 7 billion, and 8, 5 billion. This isn't a government report. It's the cost Americans are paying right now because of a war thousands of miles away. You don't see it on your bank statement. You don't notice it when you fill up your car or buy groceries. But it's there, hidden, slowly bleeding your wallet. And it's not just numbers. It's real. Rising prices, volatile markets, shrinking investments. Every American is paying, whether they realize it or not. By the time we're done, you'll see the exact ways this conflict is hitting you and why it's far worse than headlines admit. Two countries in the Middle East, one distant from us, yet their tension has a direct line to your finances. Iran and Israel, a conflict that's been simmering for decades. The latest escalation isn't just about bombs or missiles. It's about oil, global trade, and financial dominoes that stretch straight to Main Street, USA. Let's be clear, this isn't speculation. Every spike in oil prices, every wobble in the stock market, every increase in inflation traces back to these events. And Americans, households, savers, retirees, are footing the bill. Here's the uncomfortable truth: the war may feel far away, but the cost lands in your mailbox, your gas pump, your retirement account. Start with something everyone notices: gas. The Middle East produces nearly 30% of the world's oil. When conflict hits, supply fears spike. Oil jumps, gas stations raise prices. And just like that, your 50 to fill up can suddenly feel like 70 do. But it doesn't stop at gasoline. Heating, shipping, manufacturing, everything tied to energy sees the same effect. Consider this: during a previous escalation in 2019, the US saw an oil price jump of 15% in just 2 weeks. For the average family, that was an extra $200 a month just to keep their cars moving. And that's just the beginning. Next, Wall Street. Stocks hate uncertainty. A missile in Tel Aviv, sanctions in Tehran, a tanker blown up in the Gulf. Investors panic. Markets wobble. ETFs, mutual funds, retirement accounts, everything tied to the market feels it. Here's the kicker: some of the companies that get hit hardest are American companies. Airlines, tech, energy. Their stock dips. Your 401 dips. And if you're invested in broad indexes, you feel it too. Irony: many investors sell in panic, locking in losses, while the real problem isn't the market. It's the war, the oil, the hidden costs. And here's where it really hits home: groceries. Rising fuel costs ripple through shipping. Food prices climb. Inflation accelerates. The Federal Reserve may raise interest rates to counteract inflation, but that just makes loans, mortgages, and credit cards more expensive. Numbers tell the story. During the last Middle East crisis in 2021, food prices in the US rose by over 4% in 6 months. That's a silent tax on every household. Quiet absurdity: you don't see the war on the receipt. But it's there, baked into the cost of eggs, bread, even your morning coffee. Now let's zoom out. Wars cost money, lots of it. Billions are allocated for military aid, weapons, and operations abroad. Where does that money come from? The federal budget, which means borrowing, which means more national debt. And here's the math nobody talks about: US debt now exceeds $35 trillion. Every dollar spent overseas is a dollar borrowed, and every borrowed dollar increases long-term interest payments, money future Americans will have to pay. Think of it like this: your government writing checks on credit while expecting you to foot the bill eventually. And war makes those checks bigger, faster, and more unpredictable. Here's the part most people miss: it's not just direct costs. War triggers uncertainty. Investors shift funds to safe havens like gold or treasury bonds. The dollar fluctuates. Imports and exports wobble. Companies hedge. Consumers spend less. The hidden mechanism: each step compounds. A spike in oil causes higher shipping costs. That feeds into inflation. Inflation pressures interest rates. Interest rates affect loans and mortgages. Your savings account earns less, your mortgage costs more. All of it, ultimately, comes back to you. Millions of Americans paying millions of dollars without ever seeing a single headline explaining why. News reports often focus on who fired first or military escalations. But the reality: the numbers are far scarier than the headlines. The daily life impact: wallets shrinking, prices rising, savings eroding, is invisible, quiet, relentless, and it accumulates faster than most realize. Irony: the bigger the media spectacle, the less attention paid to the actual financial consequences. Zoom out. What happens if the conflict drags on? Prolonged supply disruptions, chronic market volatility, persistent inflation, retirement plans delayed, college funds diminished, household budgets squeezed. This isn't just a Middle East problem. It's a global system responding to instability. And in this system, even Americans hundreds of miles from the conflict are not just observers, they're participants, paying the invisible toll. So the next time you pay a higher gas bill or watch your investments wobble, ask yourself, how much of that is really your choice? And how much is the cost of a war you didn't choose? And here's the unsettling thought, the real number, the true cost. No one will ever print on a headline, because some wars, it seems, are paid for quietly, one American at a time.